Now you've already bought an Oura Ring or you're planning to, but in today's video, I'm gonna go in a super deep dive. We're gonna talk about the ring, the charger, the app, talk about every single thing. There are timestamps down below. And if you do plan to buy one, know that there are links down below. When you click that link, it really helps support the channel, so I do appreciate it. Let's get into it. The very first thing to know is this is the charger. It is USB-C, so if you do have like a MacBook USB-C port, you can use that. When I'm traveling, I'll just carry like 1 or 2 USB-C cables and I'll charge all my devices. Note that it's very likely that you cannot use your friend's charger. I had a friend visit me once, he's like, yeah, you have an Oura Ring, I can charge on yours. Total different ring sizes. His ring did not fit on my charger, so keep that in mind. The bottom ridge is gonna be like a little indentation, so those bumps will slide on. It should be pretty simple. It is not magnetic, but it will slide into place. And then just confirm that there's an LED right here that turns on. As long as the LED is white, that means your thing is charging. If it's a Gen 3, that will turn green when your Oura Ring has finished charging. Oh yeah, so this is a size 13, but I'm using the size 12 charger. As you can see, it still fits. It'll wiggle around, so I need to make sure that it's properly on there. It's a wireless charger, so for it to work, it just needs to not move around. All right, place this charger by the side of your bed, wherever it is. And the ideal scenario is that you keep your battery between 20 and 80%. That will help maximize the battery life of your Oura Ring. I've noticed that after about 2 years, the Oura Ring might last, 3 to 5 days, but 2 years later, the battery is probably gonna last only like 1 to 2 days. So keep that in mind and just be mindful and charge your Oura Ring properly. Don't always leave it on the charger and don't let it go to 0%. Now the charger's out of the way. What about the ring? How to wear it, what it's like, what it feels like. This is a reminder to keep the notch on the bottom. You need to keep the flat edge on the top. These 3 bumps and all the sensors need to be on the bottom side of your finger, right? It's easier to get data from the bottom side of your fingers versus the top, right? This is more covering and skin coloring. Whereas here, it's just gonna be easier to get that information and read it, especially when you go to the hospital. When they put that thing on your finger, it's gonna be reading from the bottom. So to get the most accurate data, you actually want to wear it on your pointer or your middle finger. And then the next best spot is your ring finger. And then the worst 2 spots are your thumb and your pinky finger. Wear it for 24 hours, make sure it fits, because your fingers are gonna change size throughout the day. Whether it's the things that you do, the weather inside and outside, how hydrated you are, all those factors can impact your finger's thickness. Make sure it stays on, it's not too tight, it's not too loose. I picked the biggest size, and really I can only mainly wear it on my ring finger. Sometimes depending on the swelling, I can wear it on my pointer finger, but if it gets too swollen, it won't fit or it gets stuck on my pointer finger. But this is what it will look like when you're wearing it. The best spot is probably pointer middle finger, because if I try to bring my fingers together, see how there's still a little bit of space, like it makes contact with my middle finger. We'll put it on here too. And sometimes the fingers can't fully close. If you get it all the way down, like on my ring finger, the pinky is going to be bulging out. It's another reason to want to put it on your pointer finger, but because the ring is so thick, it's going to create a little bit of space around your finger. It might look like a regular ring, but it is definitely much thicker, it's much bigger. There's battery, there's sensors, there's like computer chips inside here, so keep that in mind. And then when it comes to wearing it all day, right, if you are grabbing like weights at the gym, it's going to get scratched. You can see mine is the matte black, and it has signs of usage. Look at that, that's personality right there. The faster you can accept that it's going to scratch, the faster you can just appreciate and own the ring as is. But just be mindful anytime you grab things that might be firm, like barbells, there's a likelihood it's gonna scratch. There are some fitness tracking features, but I realize that whenever I get my hands wet, my hands get sweaty, I'd like to take all my rings off. And when I do that, I tend to forget the ring. So now I just keep my ring at home. I'll have it by my bedstand and I'll only wear it when I sleep. But this is meant for wearing all day. But if you do have an Apple Watch and you integrate it with Apple Health, you'll be able to export all of your workouts from your Apple Watch or a Garmin watch straight into the Oura Ring app via Apple Health. Now that you got the ring size down, just make sure, sometimes it's gonna move around, it might come upside down. Just make sure to go ahead and fix it and put it in the right spot. Now that you figured out the charger, how to wear the ring, the next thing is the iPhone app, I guess the Android app as well. And make sure to turn on your notifications, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Strava, and Twitter at Shervin Shares, just to see a whole bunch of more content. All right, when it comes to the app, look at that. I do have some notifications on, like battery, so I need to charge my ring. I try to keep it between 20 and 80%, like I said, but if you tap on the ring, so here's where you can see the battery percentage. If you want to turn your ring on airplane mode, note that if you do this, it will not be emitting Bluetooth waves, and the battery might last longer, but you will need your charger to turn airplane mode off, right? Once it's disconnected from your phone, there's no other way than to plug it on your charger. So if you're traveling and you activate airplane mode, bring your charger or else you will not be able to deactivate airplane mode. Here you can see the model size, firmware updates, if you need a factory reset or anything like that. If you want to share, you tap the top arrow It's going to show you like a readiness score, and then you can add images, right? There's a whole bunch of graphs. I can go ahead and add in my sleep stages. I can make a cool little thing for social media. Maybe I want to add in my deep sleep. I can drag that in. You can pinch the zoom to make it smaller or bigger. Then you can tap to share, and then you can, like, for example, if you want to share to Instagram stories, boom. Now it's going to be on Instagram stories. Not the best formatting, there's a lot of empty space, but that option is available. If we all want to share our numbers, some people will just screenshot it and then tap this and then screenshot that, because you got to show a screenshot of a screenshot. I don't understand why, but you could also do that too. If you do have your Bluetooth enabled, background syncing enabled, the Oura Ring should sync in the background for the most part, but sometimes in the morning you will have to open the app and wait, maybe a minute or two, and it's going to download all the data from your Oura Ring to the Oura app. So on the home page, you're going to get your general readiness score, like how are you feeling. Sometimes it'll provide you some text. So if I do drink alcohol or if I eat close to bedtime, it's going to say, hey, did you eat close to bedtime? What happened? You did something last night that is impacting your sleep. So it's really cool to see that. You'll get weekly reports once a week, which will give you kind of like a generic, which will give you a trend over the last 7 days, like how are you trending. This is really valuable to see, all right, what happened on Monday? Why did I not get good sleep that time? Am I keeping consistent wake times, activity scores? All really interesting to look at. It's just another way to keep yourself in check and make sure, hey, do I have good sleep hygiene? Right? And these are kind of all the examples of things that you can get. It's going to give you crowns sometimes, different scores. And know that the Oura Ring is not perfect, right? There was this one day where it said I slept for an hour and a half. I did not sleep for an hour and a half. I went to bed at 10:41. So nothing is perfect. I know some of you will get the Oura Ring and be like, oh my God, it's so inaccurate. This is a consumer device. It is not a medical device. And just be mindful that there are days where it could be wrong. It is not the sole truth. How you feel, how you actually slept is the sole truth. This is just an extra data point to help provide insights into your body. If you want to dive deeper into your readiness score, you can tap that. There's always the share button on most pages. I can go dive deeper into my sleep. I can see I was not as restful last night. And then it's going to give me this new body clock, which I think is very interesting, right? Consistent sleep times are very important. I know most of you are like, did I get enough deep REM? If you're not getting consistent sleep times, those things are probably irrelevant. So look at the body clock. Am I going to bed and waking up at the same time? Is my midpoint of my sleep around the same time? You want to try to keep that as consistent as possible. Here's where I define my goals, which was be energy and productive. You can edit that on your profile if you want to. These are all of the options available. That's just going to kind of fine tune your insights just slightly. I have inactive time, right? If you've been sitting all day, probably not good. You want to be switching between sitting and standing. Neither one is bad, but the one that you do way too often is probably not good for you. Heart rate variability, or HRV, on the left, kind of my overall trend, my sleep efficiency. Just make sure these are within bounds, right? These little, like if it changed 2%, you're like, oh my God, I went down 2%, what am I doing? That's fine. You're looking at large changes in your trends. Your activity goals, I wish I could change this. But you can go ahead and tap that and change your activity goal. I think the max is 14,500. I would like to put 20,000. You can also set it by calorie burn, but I have another video on how I measured the calorie burn. So, it's not perfect in terms of numbers, but I just like to turn off calorie burn, measure it by steps, keep it simple, forget about all the other stuff, and I can see these numbers here. But this will only apply if you wear the ring during the day. If you're like me and you just put your ring on the bedside, then you're not going to get this data. I used to wear it during the day, maybe the first year I had the Oura Ring, but I'm on like year 4 now. And I just I wear too many gadgets. Next, you'll see your nightly and daily heart rate. So if I go to yesterday, you can see this is where it captured kind of my nightly heart rate. And then there are points where I was wearing it during the day, right? You can see my sleeping heart rate average. You kind of want this to look like a hammock, I believe. Restorative time. If you do any workouts, that will pop up here. And then your daytime heart rate, it's going to capture it kind of on a sporadic basis whenever you're wearing it and it fits properly. It'll capture moments of heart rate and then just create trend lines in between. But if you're doing workouts, which we'll talk about later, that will actually track your heart rate during the entire workout. And as you scroll down, there's gonna be some more stuff. Like these are all the updates, right? It says new events in Circles. Circles is essentially where you can share your sleep data with friends or family. I have like a health house with friends, and then I have one with my family, but I can see their trends, whether it's daily scores for some folks or weekly averages for other folks. I can see, their readiness score, their sleep score, their activity. I can see who's not wearing their ring or hasn't updated the data yet. If I want to give them a crown, I can tap that and give them a little fire. But I have a whole bunch of friends here that are in my little Oura Ring circle. I think it's limited to like 10 or 15 people, but you can make multiple rings or multiple circles. So that's cool, a little social experience. I don't look into this as much because it's so deep hidden in the settings, but it's there, it's available, it's fun. If you want to access it, you can also tap the triple lines and find circles here. And that's another way to get to your little Oura Ring circle social gathering spot. You know, I've always thought about an app, sleep with friends, not literally, but you could share your data and it'd be a social experience between all the apps, like Oura Ring, Whoop, Apple Watch, Garmin. Let me know if you want to see that app below. All right, and as you scroll down, there's gonna be like a refer friends, get a premium aloe bundle. This always changes, there's different referrals, but I do have a link below that you can get a discount and it helps support the channel, as well as a little blog. You know, you can tap to learn more. I think these blogs will update every so often with some cool new information. That's kind of what you're gonna see on the homepage, and you can slide through. If you wanna see past dates, you can tap the calendar icon. You can see all the crowns, which means, you know, a good night's sleep. And you can swipe up to see all the dates. So I can go back like years, like let's pick a date. Let's go, oh, February 2019. Let's pick May 9th, 2019. I can go ahead and see how did I sleep that night. It says stretch your legs. I got 6 hours. It's just interesting that I have all of this data saved, literally from what, 4 years ago. Tap home twice to go back to today. Now top left, we have the hamburger icon. This is where you can change your information. I highly recommend you keep your date of birth, your height, and your weight, and then this will automatically update that information from Apple Health. You can define your goals, your sleep movements, and things that are affecting your sleep. Under the trends tab, you're gonna be able to see trends for every single data point that Oura tracks. So, you know, they give you kind of the most important ones at the top, and you can see it by day, week, month, year. And I can see how has that changed, right? Am I being less inactive, which is good, as well as all the tags that have been imported from me manually or Apple Health at the bottom here. I can see my heart rate variability over the past few years. It's going down, probably not ideal. I want it to go up. My sleep efficiency, how has that changed over the past few years? Pretty steady. And then if you can tap the sleep readiness activity, they have everything. So sleep, for example, let's say you want to look at time in bed. I can tap year and see, all right, it seems like I'm spending more time in bed recently. I'm averaging around 8 to 8.5 hours. Which is really good. Readiness. Maybe I want to see my body temperature. How has that trend changed? You can tap trend and I can see that information. If you're a female, right, your cycles are going to change based on your body temperature as well. So there's going to be a more pronounced effect in terms of how your body temp changes with cycles. And that's where a really interesting app called Natural Cycles come in, and you can plan pregnancy or prevent pregnancy. I have a video on that, you can check that out too. But there's some really cool integrations in terms of the Oura Ring and body temperature and female cycles. Underneath that, we have reports. This is where you'll get your weekly, your monthly, quarterly, yearly reports. These are more visual. They're more fun and exciting, I think, when you tap them. Like the weekly reports is the one we saw. The monthly reports is where it gets a little more exciting. It's going to be like more charts, more data. And you can see, all right, am I trending in any direction? Is it pretty stable? Quarterly reports get even more exciting. They get more visual each time. This one will show you the number of crowns you got, how well you did for your readiness, sleep, and activity scores, which are like kind of the 3 main scores. What time you usually went to bed, what time you usually woke up, how many hours of sleep you're averaging, your typical sleep and wake times, the midpoint of your night, how you're sleeping on the weekends versus weekdays, your daily habits of activity versus your sleep, how many steps you've gotten, your activity goal, if you hit it or not, and when you're usually most active. It looks like at the end of the workday, your inactive time, you know, during the day, just sitting at a desk, and then how many naps I took. I'm not a big napper, and how many crowns I earned. How many crowns did you earn? Let me know in the comments below. Done. So you can see that for each of the quarters. They started doing this last year, so I don't have any reports before that, but it's the same type of report just for a 3-month period. And then you have yearly reports. This comes in at the end of the year, and you can like share this on social media, very similar to like the Spotify year-end report, but it's going to give you graphs about everything, right? Heart rate variability, total steps. It just gets even more depth for the entire year. I think it's super cool to see all this information because you're like, damn, I slept really well, or I did not. Maybe something I need to work on. All the crowns you got, and as always, you can share this on social media, and you know they want you to share Oura Ring with friends. 4 years and 6 months. That's how long I've been on this app. Oura Anniversary is a summary of your recent strengths, accomplishments, and minor challenges. I actually haven't seen this. Wow. Best 6-month average scores, efficiency, resting heart rate. Look at that. My kryptonite is my recovery index. Boom. Restfulness. Total number of sleep hours tracked is 1,345 with the Oura Ring. Circles we talked about. Rest mode. So this is the rest mode. If you're ill or you're injured, you can turn on rest mode. I am injured, so maybe I'll turn this on. Just like broken foot. Done. Boom. Rest mode is on. So now it's not going to tell me, hey, you need to get XY activity, because I can't really walk around as much. So I don't need to reach any goals. The text will change because rest mode is on. If I'm sick, if it detects my body temperature is high, it will say, hey, do you want to turn on rest mode? So that's one way, or you can just go and do it manually. Blood oxygen sensing. I do keep this on, and it's going to actually make your battery life worse. If you want your battery life to last longer, turn this off. I just prefer to have this data point. It's gonna give you a percentage of blood oxygen for the entire night. It's just gonna activate more sensors and LEDs while you're sleeping. This only happens at night. Lastly, we have settings here. This is where you can change your units, right? If you're imperial or metric, change your notifications. I prefer to keep most of them off unless it's like really important, like, hey, get up and move around, or I need to charge my ring. Location or location features, you need this active to track the GPS when you're doing an outdoor walk, run, cycle on the workout features. But what I found is that I actually will always be tracking my location like 24/7. So I actually just turn this off. If I'm gonna do an outdoor workout, then I try to remember to go turn it on and then turn it off when the workout's done. But sometimes I forget. So that's another reason I don't track my workouts with Oura. Period prediction. You can use this if you're a female. Membership, it's gonna be able to manage your membership. Luckily, I'm on the lifetime membership, but if you do buy it now, there is a $5.99 fee, US dollars. You can back up your data here to the cloud, so this will make sure that it's on the Oura Ring servers. I think there was one point where I switched phones and I lost 3 months of data, which is kind of sad. So if you're going to erase your phone, really make sure to back up your data before you get a new iPhone. This is where you would activate the Apple Health features, connect to health. I like to make sure that Oura can read all of my Apple Health stuff as well as save any mindful minutes if I do kind of a meditation. If you open up the Apple Health app, you can tap your face, go to apps and services, scroll down to Oura Ring, and this is where you can activate or deactivate certain things. So I don't want Oura to write workouts or workout routes. I guess I could. So anytime I do a workout on the Oura Ring, it will save to Apple Health. Sleep, all this other information will also be saved. And then anytime I do a workout on the Apple Watch, Oura Ring will read it. So I like to have this on because Oura can get that information and hopefully make my insights more powerful. Other apps. There's Strava as well as some other API integrations or like Apollo Neuro. If you want, you can export your Oura Ring workouts to Strava or even import them from Strava. Let's say you don't use Apple Health. That feature is available. Groups. This is kind of like for research studies. I'm part of like the UCSF COVID-19 research study. Privacy policy, a whole bunch of other things down here, and then you can sign out or delete all of your data if you really want. You can see this is my app version right now. So as things change and things update, this might be out of date, but I will try to make one of these videos every single year. Help. If you do have any issues, there is like an FAQ you can search here, or if you want to contact, tap the little mail icon and you can create a support ticket. Right, if you're I've had a lot of issues, so I'll send them a lot of messages. But that's a great place to contact support whenever you have issues. Refer a friend, you can send your friend a link, or just use my link down below. That will help support the channel. And that's kind of the hamburger icon. Next, we're gonna talk about the plus sign, followed by the options on the bottom. So the plus sign is kind of like an action button. Most apps are now creating this as a place where you can start things. So you can start an unguided session. This is a place where you can measure your heart rate and heart rate variability on your ring. It's unguided, it'll just track for 10 minutes or the allotted time that you select, right? And I can pick which ones I want to see. If you go under 3 minutes, I think you lose skin temperature. If you're 5 minutes and above, you'll get skin temperature as well as HRV and heart rate. And you can also do it open-ended. It even tells you here, HRV requires 3 minutes and most will require 5. So I just recommend doing at least 5 minutes. If you want to add tags, so right now it'll automatically import tags from Apple Health, whether I've done some kind of a workout like running, sauna. But if you want to manually add them, you can do that here. I wish this experience was a little bit better, but you can go ahead and change the time and then you can pick one. Let's say I was angry and I got acupuncture at the same time, and then I can tap done, and that can just help you figure out, you know, when you go look at the trends, right? What tags did I have on those days, and was my sleep really bad because of a certain tag? I don't use this feature that often, but it is there. Add a workout. If you want to manually add a workout after the fact, you can do this. Kind of pick your intensity. It's not going to have heart rate data, but this option is available. You can select the type of workout that you've done. This is going to have a larger set of options. If you are wearing the ring during the workout, it might pick up some of the heart rate beats during that, but this is just a way to add workouts if you're not doing it via Apple Health or Strava. Next is record a workout heart rate. So here you only have these 5 options. All the outdoor stuff will use GPS, the indoor stuff will not. So for example, I can tap outdoor running. This is gonna connect to GPS. It's gonna use the GPS from my phone and the heart rate from the Oura Ring. And I can tap record here. It's gonna start recording. If I wanna pause, I can pause and then I can resume. You do need to have your phone out. If you do turn your screen off and then you're trying to reconnect, right, it might disconnect. So when we load it back up, you might have to wait a second for the phone to connect to the app before you can resume. So we're gonna end the workout. It's gonna sync the session data. Sometimes this can take a while. I've done like an hour-long run where I was tracking the run, and your green LEDs will turn on in the Oura Ring to note that it's tracking your heart rate. So just be ready that the syncing time might be some time. If you had enabled location services, that will also be synced, so I can see where and how far I ran, like distance and pacing. You won't be able to see that during the workout, but you'll be able to see that after the fact. That's everything for the little action plus button icon on the bottom right. Now we have the menu options on the bottom. So the homepage we talked about, right? We dove deep what's available here. Readiness, sleep, and activity. These are kind of your three major scores: readiness, sleep, and activity. If I want to go to sleep, I can tap that twice as well, and it takes me to the sleep menu, or you just tap it on the bottom. Activity is the same thing. I think because I'm rest mode right now, it's going to not take me there, but I can tap activity. Here it shows that I'm in rest mode. But readiness, this is where you'll see first kind of like your readiness score, as well as the variables that help decide that score. This is where I look at my heart rate. So I kind of look at the graph and see, hey, are there any like massive jumps or changes? Like right here, boom, I enjoyed some adult beverages, that is why. Another massive jump, probably due to adult beverages again. But that is there to look at. I can kind of see, oh, that one's really bad. So I would look at that information, but for the most part, if it's like pretty stable, pretty steady, it's like, all right, we're good, we're clear. You can scroll down and see your readiness contributors. If you tap on it, it'll give you more detail in terms of how that's calculated, what's good, what's bad. And then as you scroll down, you'll see your heart rate graph, right? You want this to look kind of like a hammock a little bit. And then your average HRV, ideally this is higher is better, heart rate lower is better. That's what they're currently saying. But do not compare your heart rate variability to your friends. Mine is very low. I think it could be genetic or other factors. Someone else's HRV could be like 100 something. So it's all about the deviation, right? I think I average around 30 HRV. So if I'm like in the 30s, it's good. If I'm a little bit below, it's not ideal. If I'm in the 40s, I'm great. Whereas someone else, it might be like 100, might be good or great, and like 60 might be really bad. So don't compare your HRV to somebody else. Respiratory rate, you know, you can tap into any of these variables, and this will get you to the trends page. So I can tap one, and then I can see the trends over day by day. If I want to see week by week, I can do that. Month by month is also available, and year by year. So you can do that for each of the variables up here. Then you can also go to sleep, same kind of formatting, right? I can go ahead and slide to see my sleep numbers over the past few weeks. You can literally go all the way to the beginning of time. If you want to see trends for a specific variable, I just tap it and it takes me to the same spot, right? This is the trends location. So you can just tap that and then you can change it day, week, month, year. As you scroll down, you'll see what contributes to your sleep score and how you did, right? You can see, oh, am I within range what I usually am? How is it different than usual? You can see your time of sleep as well as your sleep stages and any kind of movement. I take all sleep stages with a grain of salt, right? These wearables are trying to predict based on algorithms, AI, models to see what your sleep stages are, especially when they had the first sleep stage algorithm. Oura gave me some sleep scores and then they gave me like a beta one, and you could toggle it on and off. And my deep and REM sleep are like changing by like an hour. For the past 2 years, I was looking at the initial algorithm, and now we're switching to the new algorithm, and the numbers are this different. Should I have been making life decisions based on the old algorithm? Probably not. So when it comes to sleep stages, I know people are like, how much deep sleep did you get? How much REM sleep? And they try to like really make this a high value variable. It's not that important. Are you waking up and going to bed at the same time? Are you avoiding caffeine or alcohol before bed? Those are much more important. Focus on those first. Average oxygen saturation. This is the variable that you can turn on and off. It's going to use some extra battery. If you tap on the info, you can always read more. But that will just give you the average over the entire night. Breathing regularity, right? That's also tied in with the oxygen saturation piece. And then we'll also get our heart rate and our HRV graphs once again in the sleep tab. Next is activity. This is where you can kind of see your overall activity score, your steps, your walking equivalency, daily movement, right? And right here, I worked out a ton. So you can see, you know, there's high, medium, low. I definitely train a lot, and I think the Oura Ring is not built for folks who train a lot. Like, look at all that. It's importing all my Apple Health from Garmin, Apple Watch, multiple devices all in here. And sometimes it thinks that I'm overtraining and I need more rest. So if you're an elite athlete or an athlete who works out a lot, be mindful that the activity data, this is meant for the regular average Joe. If you're way above average, take this information with a grain of salt. This is where I can turn rest mode on and off. And then finally, the Explore tab. This is where there's like guided sessions, meditation, breath work, sleep, articles where you can learn about things. I love doing some of the sleep stuff. Like I'll put it next to my bed and press like, yeah, if I'm having trouble sleeping, I love playing this one.
Now, the working day is done, and you're beginning to make the transition.
You can add soundscapes.
To easy sleeping.
Rainfall. You can change the volume on the soundscape.
For a few moments, I'll be speaking quietly with you.
And it's like, oh, I love that. And I'll press play.
And there'll be some quiet music.
I'll turn my screen off.
And you might enjoy listening for a while too.
And that's just like a great way to fall asleep. Sometimes I just love doing that. So that's just like extra free stuff. You know, you could probably find similar things on YouTube, but it's just nice to have it in the app as well. And some really important articles like, guys, stop drinking caffeine after 2 p.m. It's really bad for your sleep. You might not realize it, but once you get the Oura Ring and you can see the data, like the slight elevation in your heart rate when you're drinking caffeine too late, even though you might feel fine, it's actually going to show differently in the numbers. So that's what I love about having a wearable. You can see these smaller changes in your sleep. Like if I drink alcohol, like I might wake up and be like, I feel a little tired, but I'm fine. But the numbers will be like, you are not fine. Your heart rate was way high last night. Your body was overworking just to get that alcohol, that toxin out of your system. So that's what I love about these wearables is they're going to provide insights and data into some of these things that you don't notice as much. They can try to keep you in check, right, with behavior. If you're like going out of bounds too much, it's like, hey, come back in, stay healthy, stay on this track. So that's what I love about it. These are all the features, the menus, the hamburger bar, the plus sign, tapping through. I hope this was valuable. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Strava at Shervin Shares. Make sure to subscribe. Turn on notifications down below if you want to see all future content. I want to be the king of all wearables, health and fitness, fun stuff. So I'm going to keep making videos about everything that I learn about. Let me know what I missed in the comments down below. I'll try to update this video every single year. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.